I can't imagine life without relationships. Relationships have been my greatest source of joy and excitement, but sadly also my greatest source of pain and disappointment. And I know that is the same for you. If relationships cause so much hurt, why do we need them or bother with them anyway? What do we need to do to ensure that we can relate with others without experiencing the hurt and the heartache that goes along with it? How do we win others without losing ourselves in the process? In this video, I will be talking about how to make your relationships work so you can get the best out of them just as they were designed to do. Stay with us. If you're just meeting me for the first time, hello, my name is Ruth and you are welcome to the channel where sugar meets spice. This is not your first time, welcome back. In my last video, I shared 5 tips to help you make friends and build relationships at work, just because life is better when you have great relationships. If you haven't watched the video, it would be great if you can go watch it after you end this. In this video, I'll be diving deep into relationships to understand what relationships truly are, why we need them, and how we can make them work for us and not against us. If you like what you're already hearing, please show us some love by clicking the like button. And as you listen, we would appreciate if you make comments to share your thoughts and also consider subscribing and sharing with your family and friends. Thank you very much for that. So relationships. I feel like whenever that word is mentioned, everyone's mind just goes to romantic relationships. Boy meets girl, girl blushes, twirls her skirts and all that. However, relationships are not all romantic. We have family relationships, platonic relationships, casual relationships, work relationships, and other kind of relationships. All these are relationships in their right, and we will be addressing them in general as we move along. So if relationships are not all romantics, what are relationships? Relationship is simply the state of interconnection and interaction between two or more people, entities, whatever. Relationships is how people relate, simple and short. As human beings, we are born relational beings. In my book, Sugar and Spice, The Making of a Woman, I wrote about how the foundation of everyone's life is made up of 1, our origins, which is originality and identity; 2, our connectedness, which involves dependence and nurture; and 3, our character, which involves growth and development. In this discussion, we will zoom into the foundation of connectedness. So, we come into this world connected in our mother's womb, and though there's a brief moment of disconnection physically after the cord is cut at birth, we still yearn to reconnect somehow for our nurture and for our survival. That is why the baby's first instinct is to reach out for the mother to reconnect, for food, for nurture and all that. But that reconnection is not just physical, it's also emotional and psychological. When a child reconnects successfully into a loving and nurturing family, with time, that yearning expands beyond the family to extended family, friends, colleagues, and other romantic interests. When a child is unable to successfully reconnect due to one dysfunction or another, that relationship that didn't work then can result in many relationships that won't work in the future. So that is what relationships are and why we need them. Relationships are a great part of our humanity and we need them to feel and stay human. We are born with the need and ability for relationships, and it will only frustrate us if we don't use these abilities and express that need. But then, the fact that we have the need and the ability to relate does not mean that we can or should relate anyhow. Life is ruled by principles, and principles are the rules that guide us in life. So the more principles you know and you live by, the more successful you can be in life. Anyone who plays by the rule in anything is saved from the casualties and guaranteed the results. There may be exceptions, but it's better to play on the side of the rule than do nothing and be on the side of the exception. For instance, a race car is built to race, but it does not race anyhow and anywhere. There are rules to ensure that the race car races successfully with no casualties. If the drivers and all the others involved play to the rules, the results will be greater than the casualty. It is the same way with relationships. There are also rules to ensure that those involved in that relationship benefit greatly from it without any casualties. When relationships work according to the rules, there are no casualties. But when they don't work accordingly, there would be many, many casualties. I've seen a lot on both sides to know that the knowledge of the rules and playing by the rules makes all the difference in getting your relationships to work. That is why I'm making this video, and I know that at the end of this video, you'll be able to see what you've been getting right or wrong and make the adjustments you need to make. If you're here to like, comment, share, subscribe, please consider pausing this video to do so now. So, if you want to make your relationships work, there are lots of things you must understand and put in place. First of all, you must understand how you as a person work. There's no interaction or relationship that does not involve people. And if you're one of the people involved in a relationship, you need to understand how you work before you try to get your interaction with another person to work. The dicey thing about trying to know ourselves is that as humans, we can be very complex creatures to understand. But if you ask the right questions to the right person, you will get some solid answers. The Bible says, God made man in his image and likeness, and after forming him, he breathed into him the breath of life. That tells us plainly that we are spirit beings that have souls and live in human bodies. There are parts of us that we are conscious of and other parts that we are not conscious of, which we sometimes call the subconscious. So you can gain insight on the conscious parts of yourself if you pay attention to the things like your needs, your personality, your upbringing, your tendencies, and so on. But if you deepen your quest, you can understand more about the subconscious or the spiritual part, which holds the key to how we as people work. We'll talk more about this later. The second thing to do is understand how the other person or people you are getting into that relationship with work. One of the greatest lessons we can learn in life is that people are different. Most people who never learn this tend to interact with others based on their own needs, their own preferences, their own tendencies, and it always backfires and leads to a breakdown of relationships. Relationship success requires understanding of other people's differences as well as their tendencies, so you can understand where and how to relate and connect, or even know if you should relate and connect. We are built for relationship, but we are not fit for any kind of relationship. Know your makeup, know your specifications or your type, and check if they are for you or against you. More about this also later. The third thing to understand, which is really critical to make relationship work, is to understand how relationships work. You need to understand the purpose of relationship, the principles behind relationship, the process in relationships, or the process to make relationship work. Someone once said, where purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable. Understanding the reason why you are in a relationship includes understanding what your obligations are, as well as the needs and expectations of the other parties within that relationship. Abuse in relationship causes a breakdown. Imagine using a microphone as a hammer to drive in a nail. You might succeed in driving the nail in, but you destroy the microphone and the hammering relationship because the microphone and nail were never made to relate in that way, or they were never even made to relate at all. So when rules are ignored, when obligations are unknown, and when expectations are unmet, relationships will not work. Understanding is the bedrock of relating. Understanding you, understanding them, and understanding it. That is the relationship. And you can make it work when you understand all this. This is how far we can go in this video. We will break it down into details in the next video. Don't forget to click the like button, make your comments, share this video with your friends, then subscribe and turn on the notification so you can see when the next video drops. I will see you in that next video. Bye for now, and lots of love with sugar and spice and all things nice. Mwah.